Played 7 games at the Owensboro Open a few weeks ago, and unfortunately, I was only able to get 6. Unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to show 6 because in round 5, I was running low on time, so I stopped annotating. Round 1, I had the black pieces. Start with Sicilian defense. C3, I played the main line, knight f6, e5, knight d5, bishop c4, and knight d6. And he just moved his bishop back to e2, which is, like, okay, I guess. And I started trying to chip away to center. He had knight f3, take. And I played this, trying to get rid of this knight without damaging my pawn structure, which is why I did not play the top engine move, knight c6. And here, he actually sacrifices knight, which is not good, because he is not objective enough compensation. But it's still be careful, but after this, I was just, like, fine after g6. Bishop f3, knight f6, castles. Then I played bishop g7. My next move is going to be rook f8, king g8. d3, like I said, rook f8, rook to e1, and king g8. Now I've successfully castled by hand. Bishop to e3 on the border. He's attacking my pawn. I played queen c7 to defend. You had d4, and you see d4 in the Sicilian, you always take. Shut up, computer, you don't know anything. Then bishop d7, knight c3. Bishop c6, trying to get rid of his bishop. Queen d3 check. King h8. And d5. Bishop to 8. And here I realized, like, you could actually get something for the pawn if I'm not careful. And I did not play bishop d7, if you're wondering, because I was scared of, like, how e7 is loose. And I potentially wanted to reroute that bishop over to f7. So after that, rook e1 and bishop f7, like I said. At which point, like, now my king, no one's ever getting my king. My king's fine. He had rook to d4. I don't know what this move does. I guess he's trying to attack my king a bit further. I brought this rook over to d8. I wanted to put the rook, my queenside rook on the c file. Then we had d6. Which, yeah. His queen's hanging, but he's counterattacking my queen. I took with the pawn. Now my queen defends my bishop. Then queen c2. Rook c8, and now I set a good position. And simply up material. Rook e d1. Like, he's putting some pressure, but not enough. And keep in mind, he's still a piece down. And I took on a2. Because you can't take that because you lose your queen. And if you play b3, then your knight's hanging. Yeah, b3 anyway, and I just took that. Queen takes b3, and then queen takes knight, like I said. Queen f7, like, it looks a bit scary, but he doesn't have anything. There's nothing here. Queen c7. Queen e6, he's trying to fight the queen trade with everything. Queen d7. Takes. Rook takes e6, rook takes e6. Rook takes e6. Knight c4. Bishop takes a7. He forgot about his rook, and then he resigned. So I won round 1. Round 2, I had the white pieces, and I played f4 because I was playing against a lower rated player, so I felt like I had to win. And he went d5, knight f3, knight c6. Like, it's not really what you're supposed to do in bird. You're supposed to play c5 first. e3, knight f6, bishop b5, and e6. b3, bishop to e7, and I decided to just take on c6 and mess up his pawns. Then we had bishop b2, and then we both castled. Then he played c5, then d3. He didn't cat his bishop, just get all his pieces out, and then knight bd2. I completed my development. Then he played an interesting move, knight d7. He wants to go bishop f6 and try and challenge my bishop. I played queen d1, just not regarding it. Then he went bishop f6, and I just played knight e5. Take, and bishop to g5. I just went knight f3 and kicked out his bishop, and he went bishop right back to e7. Then I played queen g3, following a typical idea in the bird, where you start to attack black with everything. He went a5, and I decided to just stop his counterplay now. a4, bishop to a6. He's supporting for c4 push, try and get some counterplay and attack me. I went knight d2 for a very specific reason. I wanted to play rook f4 and get my rook in the game. He played rook b8, and I disregarded his plan and just played rook f4. He played g6, like not wanting to allow me to attack his g-pawn. And I decided to just bring my other rook, so I have a threat to bring two rooks into the attack. And here, he started to panic a bit and played bishop to g5. Then I played rook g4. He went bishop h6. I went queen h3. He went bishop to g7. I went rook h4, attacking his pawn. And he played h6. He was supposed to go h5, but he didn't do it because he was scared of g4. But now this is even worse because I have rook takes h6. A brilliant sacrifice because, after takes. My next two moves are going to be rook f3, rook h3, and you're getting checkmated on the h-file. And you might think, black can stop it. Look carefully. How can black stop it? Seriously, if you're black, what do you do? Your queen can't come over to help. And if you try and play f6 to run with the king, g6 falls. If you bring the rook to try and run and create an escape, it doesn't work. And how do you stop my rook from coming up? How? In the game, he played rook b4. And if I try and play rook f3 now, then after rook to h4, my queen is actually trapped. So I played knight f3, and now I'm threatening knight g5. And he went rook g4, h3, rook g3, king h2, just my king's doing himself. He took, and he realized I was going to rook f4, rook h4 now, so he played g5 out of panic. And then I played rook g3 and he resigned, because no one is saving this king. So I won round 2 as well, and now for game with a bit of a less pleasant ending. Game 3, I had the black pieces, and my opponent played the English. And as I just played King's Indian because that's just my go-to setup against anything. D3, D6, D4, and C5. And GD2, Knight C6. Not castled just yet, but H3, then Bishop D7. And then he castled, then I played A6, preparing B5, because I knew I wasn't going to attack on the king side in this game, because I didn't want the king's game, because he's going to. So I decided to get queenside counterplay. Bishop B3, Rook B8, preparing B5, Queen D2, and then I played B5. Take. Rook C1. No, not Rook C1 yet. I have moved order wrong. Rook B8. Yeah, Queen 2, then B5. Wait, no, he did not take. He played Rook C... I'm just stupid. He played Rook C1 and I took. And I played Queen to B6 and he played B3. I played A5 trying to disrupt the structure. I didn't realize here how bad my position was. He went F4. I went Knight B4, trying to put pressure on on his queen side, then play a4 and mess up his structure. As that before, he went e5, and here I realized I can't take that. Because if I take that, then after this, my knight's hanging, but if it moves, my bishop's hanging. So I played knight to e8. He went knight to e4. But he's putting the pressure. I went queen c7, just trying to hang on, realizing that I made a mistake somewhere. Rook fd1, just applying even more pressure. Rook b6 out of desperation, just trying to survive. Then knight 2 to c3. And that's when a4, as last resort, completely missing a3. And after my knight moves, and it's over. So I played queen to a7, just trying to get something. A takes b4, rook takes b4. B takes a4, and bishop takes a4. Then rook to a1, and I resigned here because this game's over. I'm going to lose this game. So unfortunately, this game did not go my way. But next game went a bit better. Round 4, and I decided to play Polish this time, because why not? d5, bishop b2, and bishop to f5. I went e3, he went e6. And here I played knight f3, trying to bait him into taking this because of bishop takes g7. I played h6, and I realized I'm just going to have to defend the pawn. I'm not going to trick him with it. After a3, he went knight to f6. I went d4, he went knight b to d7. He had c4 and c6. Knight c3, bishop d6, bishop to e2, and we both castled. He went knight to e4, being annoying. I just played rook c1. Then he went knight d f6. And I was like, you want a strong knight in the center? Fine, but I'm getting my own strong knight in the center. He took it immediately. I took back. Knight d7 and f4, just solidifying the structure. And, more importantly, potentially allowing my rook to get in the game via f3. And here he played queen h4. He said afterward he was trying to develop his queen, but he regretted not moving it just to e7. I took on d5. He took my knight. I took back my bishop, and he took back with the e-pawn. And I was considering two game plans that were both very crazy, but one's crazier than the other. I was considering bishop to e1, then playing just g4, h4, and attacking, because my bishops cover my king. Or just rook f3 and get an attack like this. Like, I'll open up my bishop, target g7, and I'll do something. Bishop g4, rook g3, get a trade on e2. He's back up his queen to e7 here, which I missed how strong queen g4 actually was in the game. So I went queen b2, trying to put pressure on the long diagonal. f6. Bishop d4. Takes, and queen to e6, and here I realized I have nothing. I simply have nothing, and I hung a pawn. I just completely forgot that I needed my queen to guard that. Even though that was a blunder, he allowed me to justify it. I played b5 next, thinking, you know what, it's my last resort. The idea is queen to c7 if he takes, and he did take. You can't do that. Too greedy. Because now queen c7, and now look at this. g7 is hanging. Your knight is hanging. And g7 is also checkmate. And if you bring your knight back to defend, then rook takes g7. Like, there's so much threats in the position. But here, he found the only move that allows him to stay in the game. The only move. Queen to f6. It's the only move. Because if I were to take his knight, check. King over, check. Checkmate. So here, in response to his only move, I found the only move for white. h3. It looks crazy, but this is the only move that keeps the advantage for white. It's the only move. Because you gotta get your king out. And black's still under a lot of pressure. If they go here, then they're fine. Like you take on b7, and if they go here, then like they're fine. Like just take b7. You got targets everywhere. You're gonna win the pawn back, but black's alive. Like black has chances. But he blundered. Played queen to f2 check. And then I played king h2. Now look. Now it's even worse. Because checkmate's hanging again, your knight's hanging. And like he realized what he just done, and out of desperation he played knight f3 check, and I just took that because of checkmate. And here he sat there until his time ran out. He just couldn't. I don't know why. This is round 6. Like I said, unfortunately, I do not have round 5. I do not have the entire game. I had the black pieces. I had another Sicilian. c3 again. Knight f6. e5, knight d5, knight f3, and d6. d4, take. Then I took on e5, he took back, and e6. I was just trying to stabilize my position. He went bishop to c4, and I responded by giving this check. He went bishop d2, and I took that, and took back like this. And here we both just simply castled. And I played knight to b6. Attacking his bishop. He went rook c1 defending, and if I take that, then after he takes back with his knight, like his knight's going to go to a really strong square on d6, and I didn't want to allow that, so I played bishop d7 with a very specific idea. I wanted to reroute it over to c6 and have it cut the long diagonal. And then my b8 knight would go to d7. He went rook to e1, and I completed that plan with bishop c6. And my next planned move was knight b e7, but then he played this and hung his knight. Free knight. And he just went knight f3, and I just took that. Queen takes f3, knight c6, and this is just over. Rook e d1, and I just made things worse for him like this. Rook takes c4, and then I took here, and he resigned. This was a pretty easy victory, but the next game in the final round, it was absurd. This last game is crazy. Like I said previously, this game is absolute madness. I started with f4 because I had to win, e5, and he made a From's gambit. He took back with the bishop, knight f3, g5 the main line, g3, and he striked my theory here with h5. And I just went d4, and he went h4, and I took bishop to e7, and I took here. Now I'm up 2 pawns, and I actually have a pretty good position. He went bishop g4, and I just went queen d2 here, defending my bishop, because he was going to take the knight and take the bishop, and I was playing actually a bad position. Knight c6, and I decided to play c3 here. He went queen, not queen takes d4, queen d5. I took his bishop, which was a mistake in the eyes of Stockfish. Knight g takes e7, and bishop g2. Just defending my knight, and here he long castled. I responded with knight a3, just getting my last piece developed. He went knight f5, and I long castled here, which I forgot to hung upon. But I'm still up a pawn here, but this is a bit scary now. I went queen to f4 here, and he played king b8, and I took on g4. He went knight to b3, and I went queen h3, which was a mistake. Not busy taking the rook. Because of this. Knight a5, the silent killer. And if I save the rook, that's checkmate. So I played knight to d2, then he went queen a1, and I went knight a to b1, just trying to hold on and defend myself. Knight a c4, take, and I have to play the move. Like there's a move here that I have to play, but I didn't really want to play it, but I had no choice. Rook d2. He took the rook, and I took back with the king, because the knight's pinned. I can't take with the knight. What makes it so bad is I lose b2, and I can't go down because I lose the rook. No, I lose the knight. My rook's defended. But if I can't go down, I have to go up. I told you this game is insane, but it's as crazy as it looks. My king is actually, for the moment, relatively safe on d3, because like he's got a couple pawns protecting him. He's got the knight defending c3, and my queen can come over and help if needed. So my king's actually relatively safe. He went c5, and I played queen f3 because I forgot his queen was here guarding. So he just took, and I went queen f4, king a8, and then I took back. My king is, like, a lot of people, like, they try to keep your king as safe as possible. My logic is, my king's safe here, and if anything gets wrong, come down here and prove it. If you can't prove it, my king's safe. That's all there is to it. But rook c8, look at the position. There's only one move here, it's queen d2. Just stop the infiltration. And he did not take my queen, because he felt he was attacking, and he is attacking. Queen b5, but he goes about it the wrong way. Because now king to e3, and my king's escaping. My king's going to escape to the king side. Rook cd... No, never mind. Not rook cd8 check. But now guess what? King f2. Now what? Queen f5 check. And now I'm better, because after bishop to f3, there's no more attack. My king is safe now. He still tried queen h3. Doesn't matter. Like a couple moves possible here. I went queen g5, sacrificing the pawn because I didn't feel like I had much of a choice, and he could have just taken it. But queen d7. Now you're losing. Queen f4 guarding everything. Queen to e7. Doesn't matter. There's nothing. h5. Just now you're never getting the pawn. Rook g8. Rook c1, threatening rook c7. Rook c8. Take. And now my knight, which was forced to b1 a long time ago because of queen a1, now comes back into play. Knight d2. He went a5 using his greatest resource, the outside passed pawn. But knight b3, wrong time. a4. b7 and a4 was both hanging. He took out of desperation. Queen takes c5. And if you thought my king's journey was over, it's not quite over yet. a3 on the board. Queen takes f7. Queen g5 check. King h3, and my king's journey is finally over. There's no more checks. And he realized he can't push because my queen would take it. So he went queen b5 with the idea of moving over to b2. h6. He went queen to b1. And I took on b7. and he resigned. If you want to know why he resigned, he has to take this, and I win the race. My pawn wins. But oh my gosh, if we go all the way back, my king walked through a war zone. My king just walked through a literal war zone, just to run. My king walked through a war zone, and somehow made it to safety. This is a crazy game and a great way to end the Owensboro Open. Unfortunately, I couldn't get 7 out of 7. I only got 6 out of 7. Because I did actually win the 5th game, but I can't show it because I don't have full game written down. Because I was too low on time. But oh my gosh! Listen, never underestimate the king. It can be anywhere and be safe sometimes.